I'm gonna share a story with you guys. And sometimes these topics, I have no idea what I'm gonna tell you guys next week, and I have no idea what I'll tell you the week after that. But I do know one thing: like, inspiration's everywhere. And if you pay attention, you'll get it from the smallest things, from things you might listen to in passing, or something someone mentioned, or something you notice. It's like something that happens in every day. But there's so much depth in everything. If you pay attention, you'll definitely see that there's always something right in front of your eyes, under your nose, like people say. So I'm going to tell you a story about Albert Einstein. Everyone knows who Albert Einstein is, right? And everyone knows that he's like looked as a genius, and this guy was born like smart, and he was just, I guess, like put on this planet to come up with these invaluable equations. But Albert Einstein, during his time in school, he was a terrible student. He was actually put down by his professors, and they thought that he was just a class clown. So he was even noted at one point to write a letter to his parents, and where he said, sometimes I wonder if I should have ever been born. Like, maybe I should have never. I'm like, basically like a waste of space is what he thought he was. And that's an extreme thought for someone who has come up with some of the most valuable knowledge that we utilize today in every aspect of our lives. So fast forward a little bit, he couldn't get a job out of college at all, anywhere. So he had to beg a friend to get him a job. He ended up moving to Bern, Switzerland, to be a patent officer you guys know the story, he got a patent, right? So he worked there for a long time, and in his downtime he used to do these thought experiments is what they called it. And people may think nowadays that it's called daydreaming. But in his mind it was a thought experiment, because he saw things differently. He didn't see things like we see things. We might see things kind of like in a way where we have to draw them out or mathematically come up with them. He used to visualize things instead of kind of trying to put it to pen and paper. So during this time, he came up with an equation that was famously noted as the special theory of relativity. You guys have heard, and I'm not gonna bore you guys to death today, so I'm not gonna give you Science 101, but I am gonna tell you how this is gonna impact your life, and how it impacts your life every day without you guys even realizing it, right? So his theory behind the special relativity was the theory of special relativity is that before he came up with this concept, scientists used to think that two of the same objects, right, even though they were the same things, held different properties. So for instance, two baseballs. One baseball at a time is going to you. So one baseball that's sitting dormant on the counter, right, that's considered to be one object with a certain amount of mass. Now, if you take that same baseball, the same exact replica of that baseball, and you threw it at 96 miles an hour in a china shop, right, that's considered to have maybe mass plus energy, correct? Now, that theory was looked upon as once that baseball has stopped and has no more momentum, no more motion, then it's used up all its energy, right? So at that point, it returns back to its natural state of just being a baseball. But what Einstein discovered is that baseball, whether it's moving or whether it's dormant, has the same amount of energy in both. And people couldn't understand that. So the theory is that you guys have all seen the equation he came up with, E equals mc squared, right? You guys have all seen that theory before. What that means is that energy is equivalent to mass or matter times the speed of light cubed, right? So what that means is, in layman's terms, is that energy is matter. Matter is energy, or mass is energy. Energy is mass. So there's no difference between energy, which you guys may think of as the battery life in your phone, as the phone itself. There is no difference. It's energy, and energy is always transferred into matter. Matter is always transferred into energy. Now, I'm probably losing a couple of you guys, but I just want you to stay with me. So if we know, and Einstein has proven that energy equals matter, or energy equals mass, we're going to see how this relates to our life. So this equation is constantly at work in our everyday lives, right? So the way I'm going to explain this to you is like this, right? So if energy equals mass and mass equals energy, have you guys ever seen ice cube go from an ice cube to go to water, right? It's the same thing. We know it's the same matter, but it's changed into a different form. That's the same thing as matter. Matter, its other form of matter is energy. So when an ice cube goes to water and then goes to steam, it's still the same thing, but it's just changed its physical appearance. So you can say that matter is frozen energy, is what it is. It's energy that hasn't been spent at the moment. So what this did was it created a bridge between matter and energy. Nowadays we understand it's one and the same. Most people don't realize this, but it is. So to give you guys an example of the power of matter, or what this is actually shown, is you guys remember, Tom probably can tell us more about this, is during a war, we bombed a country, and there were some regions of that country by the name of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as you can remember, right? Japan. Absolutely, right? So in 1945, like Tom says, we devastated this country, right? You know what we did it with? 1 ounce of matter is all it was. Exactly. So what it proved is that if we were to use nuclear reactions by splitting atoms, we were able to take 1 ounce of matter and create all this energy. So what I want to tell you guys is that this wasn't Einstein's original formula. He didn't say that energy equals mass times the speed of light cubed. He actually first initiated this because he cared more about matter, and energy was here divided by speed of light cubed. So he cared more about matter than he did about energy. But when it came to developing these atomic weapons or creating nuclear energy, they cared more about the equation of energy. So you can reverse this formula and it's the same thing at the end of the day. But what Einstein really wanted to figure out is, what is it that's different between a moving object or a still object? So if there's this much energy pent up in 1 ounce of matter, let's look at some other things that have energy, right? If you take a newspaper has so much energy in it that it could power New York City for a month. Right? This is incredible, right? You think about how much energy New York City uses. New York City uses 11 billion watt hours per day. So that is an enormous amount of energy that is encapsulated in one little inanimate object. All right, a baseball, Tom, right? Like we spoke about before, a baseball can power a car going 65 miles an hour for 5,000 years. Right, so there's energy in the smallest things that can power us for a very long time. Just to give you guys a frame of reference into kilowatt hours, right? An average home uses 897 kilowatt hours per month and 10,766 kilowatt hours per year, right? Ton of kilowatt hours, right? So let me just write that down for you guys, right? So 10,000, so you guys can see this. 10,766 kilowatt hours, or per year, right? Per year. I think that's how you do it. Okay. Oh, it's kW. Sorry, it's kWh. All right. So what that means is that, okay, this is a lot of energy that a household uses. So I pulled up a calculator where it translates where you can use Einstein's formula, E equals mc squared, take anything and figure out how much kilowatt hours it has. So it took my weight, 175 pounds, right? And I calculated how many kilowatt hours are inside of something my size. There's 1,981,721,834,035 kilowatt hours in just 175 pounds of anything. So you could power this to like infinity. So there's so much energy pent up in everything that it's incredible. I'm just giving you guys a lot of points of reference so I can give you guys pretty much what I mean by all this, right? So while you're listening to this presentation, E equals mc squared is actually taking effect. The way this is taking effect is because the processes in your eyes and your brains are undergoing perception and thought. So perception and thought are forms of energy. That means is, if you ever guys heard of like brain food, like you eat, certain foods give you more energy, certain foods give more capability of like processing things. Your brain is going through this process of releasing energy in order to be able to understand what I'm saying or listen to what I'm saying. So this is E equals mc squared at work every day, and we don't even realize it. Now, the point is that although E equals mc squared, this expresses interchangeably between mass and energy. We've already explained that. The only thing that Einstein didn't specify is that there's any particular reaction that executes the conversion. So what it means is there doesn't have to be one way to execute going from matter to energy or from energy to matter, right? So are you guys all following me on this? Like, I didn't really lose anyone, right? Because I know Lynn is probably like looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm gonna get this to you. I'm gonna get this to you, right? So all right, yeah. So all right, go, Harry.
I just don't understand what you're talking. How the hell does?
Okay, watch, right? So energy, right? When I think of energy, what do I think of? I think of activity.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing anything?
Okay, activity equals. Okay, what does activity equals? If mass or matter is a baseball, a computer, a house,
right,
a human body. If activity is energy, then my then my mass is going to be results times the speed of light. I'm sorry, this is C.
C squared.
C squared. So what this means is activities will equal your results at a humongous disproportionate event if you utilize everything you have. If you use a little bit of energy, you're going to get a little bit of results. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up to you guys today is because I don't think you guys understand that sometimes when I tell you everyone has the capability of doing anything that anyone else has. I'm not just saying this now to kind of pick up your spirits or because this is something that's like a way to motivate you, but it's a scientific equation that has been proven. And if you guys ever notice that a lot of things in science and a lot of things in physics apply to everyday life. So for instance, I'll give you another example. You guys ever heard of, what goes up must come down? You guys have heard of things like that when you're talking about gravity and things like that. The same thing applies in business a lot of times. Sometimes businesses go up, but it's only a matter of time until they come down. So this is all stuff that you can apply to your life. Now, if you gave your full energy, your full activity to what you want to accomplish, it will get the result that you want. So for instance, some people look at, like, for instance, someone who I guess you can look at as being successful, like an Elon Musk or somebody who's Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase. These people who have reached like a high level in life, or the President of the United States, someone like that. That person has just as much energy as you do. We don't have different amounts of energy, but that person put that activity into work and it gave him a result. So I'll use Lim as an example because Lim is a great example of this. Lim takes more energy and she takes more activity than most people do. And what happens? Lim's results are larger than most people's results, right? So I'm just putting it out there. I'm being very candid with you guys that if you're not getting the results you want, it's because you're not putting in the activities that you're supposed to be putting into anything. So I'll get a little deeper with you guys. At the point of supposedly the Big Bang Theory, or what some people think brought us into existence, there was a single point of energy, and that expanded and it created other atoms and created other life, and then so energy turned into matter, and now we're matter. So we are made from what the stars are made of. We're made of all the energy in the world. So the only way for us to actually continue this life cycle is to utilize that energy for something. Exactly. We need to use that energy and create something. We need to use that energy and help better people. We could better this world. But we can't do that until we stop doubting ourselves. And if you guys look at this equation that was put together by someone who considered himself to not even really be worth living or having life, and then he went on to create such a perfect equation that it's still used to this day in almost every scientific and a scientific method that people can create. So if this means anything to you guys, I know it's a little complicated and long-winded to get to my point, but I want to explain to you guys, first of all, that someone who doubted themselves created something great. And then what he created that was so great is just a formula for success. If you look at it, it's all it is.
He didn't necessarily do anything himself, except create it.
Exactly. Now, when he created this, you would have thought that the minute he created this equation, he was an instant sensation and everybody wanted to, give him. It was almost 6 months before someone even acknowledged that it was good. And once he was acknowledged by someone who held some merit, that's when his equation actually took off and when he started to make something of himself. So never doubt yourselves, especially if you have something, you believe in something, but no one else believes in it. It could be the best thing in the world, but it just takes time for people to believe that too. You may not have the right person today, but if you give up, you'll never have an opportunity to do what you need to do. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to science. I love science. I love things like you failed that class. I love science. I love physics, quantum physics. I like this stuff. Is really what really makes my gears go. But I wanted to see how this equation really we can relate this to our lives, and I feel that E equals MC squared is really just another equation for success. It's really what it is. So, anyone have a comment on that, or?
It sounds to me like the whole thing is just here I am. This is what I am. I sit here and do nothing. I'm nothing. Yeah. Practically.
You're
if
using...
I go out there and go to work, then I am something. It's just like the baseball. It's nothing sitting there, but if I throw it, it's something else.
It is.
If I do something with it.
Exactly.
And the point he's trying to make is, hey, you got to go to work.
That's true. I mean, when other people can feel your energy, I mean, they feel like motivated to do business with you, and they don't forget about you. They always remember you. Instead of picking like Nicola that she's all calm, they pick me. Like.
They feel what you're showing them. If it's a show, they feel what you're showing them.
Yeah, but this could work in either way, because positive energy will give you positive results and negative energy will give you only negative results. So it depends what kind of energy or activities are going into the first part of the equation. And that's what, and you know what's funny is that once it gets here, it gets multiplied by a number that is incalculable, because the speed of light is so fast that it can go around the planet 7 times in 1 second. So what this means is that if you put forth your best effort, God will handle the rest, and He will make sure that your efforts are multiplied by a factor that is beyond your comprehension. And sometimes people think that things happen by luck. They don't. I mean, people that are in the places they are there because they did something to get there. They didn't just wake up and someone handed them the keys to the city and said, you deserve this because you're a good guy. Yeah, you make your own luck.
No, luck is where
opportunity meets preparation.
That's right. Luck is where opportunity meets preparation.
Sure.
You can go on all these lists and walk what you want to. If you haven't prepared for them, you're not going to, it ain't there.
Yeah, if it's not there, it's not. Go ahead, Harry.
I was gonna say that my first year I definitely struggled with like a lot of doubt and like looking for
That's what I like a lot of times too.
family members to give me validation. And I wasn't getting that, and I don't think they were meant any harm by it, but they just couldn't see me doing something besides truck driving. But I could see myself, so I had to hold on to like people that were very positive. Not saying that they weren't, but they were projecting their own fears on me. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. They let other people that they look up to that are close to them project their fears onto them, instead of following their heart and their intuition and holding on to someone maybe that has been through it. Like anyone that's new, maybe grab Lim and talk to her. I've done it when I first got into here, or grabbed onto Lou and held on to him because I know he's done it. And I had to hold on to those people, including my girlfriend as well, to get through that stuff because my family members projected their fears and doubts on me. And if I would have said, you know what, they're my family, they're right, I wouldn't be where I'm standing at right now. And my results have been, for me, and I only look at myself in the mirror, I don't want to compare, have been astounding if I look from when I first started last year to where I'm at now. And it's because of the energy I put in and taking the suggestions, and anyone can do it.
But it's surrounding yourself with positive people too. The more positive, that's one thing I loved about this place the first day I ever walked in here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive people in here, and even the ones that aren't doing much business. There's a lot of positive. You don't hear negative stuff in here.
That's very important.
That's right. I haven't heard 10 times anything said about negative anything. There's no negativity in here, and that's the reason you're going to continue to grow. You surround yourself by positive people. You got to do that.
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
Runs up.
Yeah, it really does. So, anyone from this side? Any questions?
Carlito wants to say.
You're very quiet over here. Steph, welcome back, Steph.
Yay. So, because I was away, I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I'm actually a year in culture now. Last year.
Nice.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And I started with a lot of doubt myself. I started with just not thinking I could do it. But I don't give up. I'm a warrior. So I kept that attitude, and I believe it's important. Even you speaking about that, I've been reflecting about, what I want to do next, and that's exactly what you need to do. You need to take the first step. Always taking that first step to anything that you want to do is what's going to make a difference. And again, speaking for myself too, from where I was last year to where I am today, I'm happy, but the best is yet to come. So there's always a next step. There's always something that you're going to do that's going to take you to where you want to be. And I have all this energy that I guess, and just thoughts and things that I want to do, and I guess my dreams are, and just really just sitting down and just writing them out and just filling them out and just taking that first step to trying something, whether it works out or not. I know that at least I did something about it, and that's where I come from last year to this year, and to where I'm going to continue to be and grow. So I think that's really important with that whole science stuff. It was good.
With the equation. I try to simplify it for you guys, but it's really all it is. If you look at activity equals results, but the funny thing is about the right hand of the equation is that it's not just results. It's results to a magnitude that you can't even calculate, because if you just do it once and leave it alone, you'll get a result. But if you do it all the time, those results will increase and increase and increase over time. Yeah, they'll multiply over time, and then before you know it, 10 years, 20 years have gone by, and you've got 50 real estate agents in your office when you couldn't even close a deal your first year. So I'm just a testament to this equation really being what it is. And if I would have really focused throughout those middle years where the economy was crazy, I would have probably been at this point sooner. But I doubted myself, and I really had a struggle with that. And that's why I always tell you guys it's the same thing. Like, I'm no different than you. You guys are no different than me. Like, anyone can accomplish anything they want. And my particular goal happened to be this, and I'm here doing this now. So this will open up further doors for us down the future, and I have other goals and other aspirations. But you can't get there without doing your activities every day. And sometimes people feel like, oh, I did nothing today, or I'm not accomplishing this quick enough. It can never come quick enough, obviously. But when you reflect back and you see where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's huge. It's a big improvement. So we look at that now, and we track our numbers, and we track our agents, and we see what it is, especially just for Culture Estate. But like Lynn, when she did her first flip, I'm sure she was probably like, this is hard, this is not easy, how do I get better? And now she's like the queen of flips, so that doesn't happen overnight. That takes time. And she could have quit when it got hard and when she lost money, but none of you guys should do that. You guys should always just believe in whatever it is that you're after and get it. The equation's there. It's proven by science and physics. So enough for me to tell you.
When I was in the hospital, when I was on my deathbed, and Louis came to see me, I remember when they first diagnosed me and told me, you have acute myelogenous leukemia, and like those big words, and like 12 doctors standing around you in front of your family, I was completely paralyzed, like went to another world. But I just remember asking the doctor, like honestly, like I sincerely asked him, like, am I gonna live? That's all I wanted to know. She says, it's not in our hands, it's in God's hands. And I think that right there is when I shifted my gear to where I'm going to stay positive no matter what. I'm not going to give up. I don't care. I'm going to eat when I can't taste stuff that tastes like metal. And I'm going to continue to put in the footwork and be as happy as I can. And I started to wake up and just be grateful that I woke up. Grateful that I saw my mother or my father and kept it simple. And I truly believe, besides God, the reason I'm standing here today is because I was positive throughout that entire thing. People that would come and visit me, they would leave and say, like, Harry wasn't even negative or anything. He was positive. I was playing PlayStation. Like, it is what it is. Like, have fun while you're doing it. And anyone that's, like, negative or says, fuck them. Mm-hmm. Keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. Concentrate. Stick with the winners. Surround yourself with people that are doing it. Everything will work out better than you can imagine. So like whatever challenge you got, just stay positive, because all that worrying, it does nothing positive, and it'll always work out if you keep grinding. It's a numbers game, like you say all the time. Just keep putting in the work, it's gonna work out. Yeah, absolutely, I have no doubt.
One of my favorite quotes actually, I posted on my desk, but from Albert Einstein was, you have to learn the rules of the game and be better, something like that. You know the quote about?
Learn the game.
Learn the game, yeah. So I think it's important, and I think we are in the right place, and we are in January, but we're gonna be, moving forward, and I think it's cool.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Look how much we've grown since last year.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
it.
And continually growing.
Every day.
And
Yeah.
thank
And
you
energy's
for
only
Luis
getting
Vega.
Thank you, Lynn, for
Boss!
believing it.
Boss!
Thank you for your energy. If not, we would be very depressed in here.
When Lynn walks in.
Very depressed. Yeah, she's a true example. When I think of this equation, I think of the way that Lynn is when she walks into a room. Like her energy, like
Absolutely.
just fills the room. So, I mean, I'm not as
Yeah.
I'm not as active as her or anything like that. But I work harder to compensate for that. You know?
Sometimes when I see people like that, I say, how do you do this every day? Coffee. Every time I go to see her,
She's wired that
smiling,
way.
laughing and having fun.
She's wired that way,
How
yeah.
the hell can you do this every day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, of course, I'm 81 years old, but I can't even think about doing it every day.
Right. No. I try to do my best, but honestly, it's because Lou gave me the opportunity, and
Found something you
he
can do.
had like a lot of patience with me.
Mhm.
It's
I'm all done now, though.
yeah.
So you're grateful that
You're on your own.
the best way
Yeah.
to pay him back is by busting your ass and doing the work.
She does it, yeah. It's for her family as well. You know, obviously there's many reasons to do well. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone. You guys are awesome. Next week.
For you people